Today on the Ski-Doo track, we learned that the Pacific is rimming with possibilities. My name is James.
I'm Nicole.
And welcome to KaiJULY 2024 here on Mostly Speakin' Sentai.
That was fantastic.
Oh, our guest is already talking, baby, but that's fine, But, I need to introduce my co-host, for we are constantly drifting one another. It's the Bricks, the Cole, Jakis.
Hi, that's me.
Do you think we could drift well together?
Yeah.
All right, because we're talking Pacific Rim today.
Yes.
Which side would you rather want to be, the right side or the left side?
The right side.
Okay, all right. Oh, now I'm having to do ambidextrous things.
Yep.
You fool.
That's
you made
on you.
me. I'll just be the shield. Yeah.
Skadoosh.
Kaiju tries to, spit acid. I'm shielding it.
Yeah, they should have shields, but they don't.
Yeah, also,
It's real dumb.
Is rubber acid-proof, or is there anything that is acid-proof? Like silicone, if I were to dip silicone into acid, it would melt?
I'm pretty sure.
Like all metals aren't acid-proof?
No, you saw it in the movie.
Well, in the movie, I'm talking about real life.
I don't fucking
Is
know.
grass acid-proof? Because I
Sure.
smoke weed
You
and
know,
drop
why not?
LSD.
Why
and
not?
guess what? They meld together pretty well.
They drift together.
It's of Mother Gaia, both of them. LSD created by my Mother Gaia. That's my mom's name.
It's not.
Yes, it is. It's Gaia Louise McCormick. Maiden name style. Nicole, talk, please.
About what?
I don't know. Maybe introduce our guest?
You do it.
Oh, okay. I guess I was his coworker. Okay. I guess I'm the one who wrote down his intro. I actually did.
Yeah.
You know him as Cool Monkeyed, and from the upcoming comic Stellar Remnant, it's Daimon Hampton.
Yo, what's up?
How are you?
I'm good. I'm hanging out. I'm drifting in. I'm solo drifting, I guess.
Oh, damn. That's dangerous.
It is dangerous, but we like to live our lives on the edge, so.
Uh-huh.
Congratulations on that grant you just got.
Oh, yeah, thanks. They still haven't given it to me, so I don't have any money, but. But I do have the prestige of being able to say that somebody picked me for a thing, which is always nice to have outside validation.
Yeah, that's like me and Nicole. She picked me, but I got a lot out of that. You know?
Yeah.
I can't put that on my resume. Could
Why
I?
not?
I mean, you could.
All right.
I feel like you should be able to put that on your resume. It tells them that you have a healthy relationship at home, that you have somebody to go to, somebody listening to you.
I guess it did help out with getting my job at Chicago Comics.
Yeah, it did. It did.
But nowhere else I say darlinghomebody.com. I'm practically married to that.
Yeah.
A website. What website would you marry if you could?
Marry a website?
Yeah.
Oh, man, none. All the cool websites are gone now. There's just the terrible ones that would, as physical people, would just, Twitter, a horrible person.
Okay.
Facebook is a Gen Xer that, doesn't have anything interesting to say, but wants to talk all the time. And Twitter is, shallow, I guess. I don't know. Twitter is, not Twitter. I said Twitter already.
What about
Instagram.
Spin?
Ooh.
Spin.com.
You want to know what? Then I think this is one you would marry, the Wayback Machine.
Ooh,
The
yeah.
Wayback Machine.
Because then I'm on vampirefreaks.com back in 2006.
Yeah, back when the internet was cool and exciting, and there was always a new thing to be excited about. Now it's just a new thing to argue about every week.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, I guess I would marry Neopets.
Yeah.
Man.
It's still going strong.
Yeah.
That maybe Gaia Online. I remember Gaia Online fondly.
Is that my mom's
Oh
website?
my God. I don't know what that is.
You just used the thing that I said to make a joke about me having like dating your mom, which is funny to me.
Okay, yeah. My mom's website. My mom's not defined by her web presence, guys. If she were, then she'd have much bigger titties.
Oh my God.
I'm saying my mom's avatar online. She's like, I gotta have them big bingos. I'm gonna get a message from my mom saying like James McCollum.
No, she would absolutely not. No, she's gonna text you and say, if they were that big, it would break my back.
Yeah, she would say. Yeah,
like,
she'd further the bit.
Yeah,
because she knows it makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah, exactly.
You have a great relationship with your mom. I like it.
She'd say like, "Oh, if my boobs were even bigger, I wouldn't need to go that far to hug you." And I'd be like, "Oh, Mom, no. Ugh. You know, I'm uncomfortable hugging you as is.
Yeah.
Don't bring your bingos into it."
I mean, you started it.
And I did not. She technically started it by getting semen jacked inside of her a third time. Yeah.
Oh no. This is where this is going. Oh wow, this is wild. Yeah.
Daimon clearly hasn't heard an episode of this show.
I haven't. I need to be on it. I need to be.
Nah, it's fine.
Yes, I have. I'm lying. I've watched all the episodes, especially that one where you guys went to space, and then the other one where you guys met Sasquatch, and the one where you guys switched bodies.
That one actually has happened. That one we did.
Yeah.
So why'd you pick this Pacific Rim movie?
I hadn't seen it in a really long time, and you said you had never seen it. So I was like, oh, I wonder what he's going to think about this, like, cool, like, white guy kaiju movie that they made.
Technically, it's a Spanish guy kaiju movie that was made.
Well, I was looking it up, and it's like it's Guillermo del Toro like directed it, but like the writer is this guy. His name is like Trevor something.
Okay.
Trevor Cullum, I think, or something like that, and he's very white.
Okay.
And I was watching it, and I was like, that's pretty obvious to me. Like, I feel like a white guy wrote this. It just feels like that. Not necessarily in a bad way all the time, because it's like a fun movie, but like it's just like characters that just like it's just they just spend time in like Asia, and like all the heroes are white for some reason, except for like the most of them anyways. I don't mean like some, like all of them, because obviously Idris Elba isn't white, and the girl that plays Mako Mori isn't white, but like this is a lot of white people.
Yeah,
like
no, for sure.
Yeah, Nicole said, like, oh, yeah, this is like an American movie, so it's just going to be all dudes, no women. And I go, no. I think what's going to happen is one of these brothers is going to die, because we cannot see both of them the entire movie because they look exactly alike. And then when they introduce the Australian dudes, I'd be like, all right, there are 4 of the same people here. Just one's old. But I said one of them's going to die, and then like a badass lady, not as badass as she could have been, but I was like, oh, a lady is going to be who he's drifting with. But I also I thought, oh, they're going to have a love interest, but they kind of don't.
Yeah,
I thought it was a little bit more explicit than that, but like watching it now, I'm like, they do like the Marvel head touch at the end.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, was that a thing? And there's a moment where he's just like, I always have bad timing. And like, you like, wait, was he like hitting on her? What was that? And then also the part where he like takes his shirt off, and she's just like looking at him, and you're like, oh, like, is something happening? And then the movie's like, maybe, I don't know. You decide for yourself. So
I think it's because, like, if you were to literally intertwine minds with someone as your job, I think you would have zero sexual attraction to them, because it's like, well, I am you.
No, I feel like that'd be the opposite. People love themselves. Like, it's like really common for people to date people who look like them, like look like themselves, because they like are attracted to like other people who remind them of themselves. So like, merging brains with somebody, that's like the tightest you can be. It's probably easier to date. Like, I was thinking about that. I was like, oh, technically, if they don't have to go too deep into like why they like each other, because they already just implied that they know everything about each other's deepest, darkest secrets in the past 2 minutes. So like, there's not a lot of barrier after that.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah. I don't know. It just seems like to the point where they're doing it, but also then I think you would have to date each other because I wrote a note down in the beginning that in order to bond even more, are these brothers running train? Like, because that, like, is it government sanctioned like train running? Because then it's like, oh, you like we're bonded so closely now, and we're having sex with the same person together.
What the fuck?
Just like the eyes of them, just like locking eyes while they like bone somebody, and it's just like, yes, this is how we do everything. I feel like if you did this though, you wouldn't want to spend time with that person all the time though. Like right afterwards, you need like a break from them a little bit. Like you need to be like, oh, I got to go do my own thing and feel like my brain is mad again for a second before I like see you again.
But what's wild is it's crazy how this doesn't get touched on. The Australian is a father-son team. The son has the memory of him being conceived.
Yeah,
it's not
I guess
good.
they should spend more time in the movie dwelling on it.
And he has like that. He knows
That's why he's such an asshole.
Yeah, everything that he does is vindicated because he also has the feeling of like that emotion you get when you fall in love with someone, like that initial crush phase and like, oh my God, this is the person for me. He knows that feeling to a T, but for his mom.
Yeah, so that's why his only friend is a dog and he doesn't want to talk to anybody else.
Okay.
Then he'd have to explain how he feels about that, and he can't. He can't explain to anybody how he feels about that because they're not going to understand.
Mm-hmm. Except to a dog.
Yeah, the dog isn't going to judge him. We're going to judge him.
Yeah, at first I hated this dude. Now it's all
It
sound.
makes sense. Yeah.
Okay, so today we're discussing 2013's Pacific Rim. Initial thoughts, Nicole, what did you think?
Loved it.
Hell yeah, same.
But this movie is the most like it's a perfect genre movie. Like it's not trying to be like the best thing. It's not trying to win awards, and it doesn't need to. Mm-hmm. I love it.
I read that it did terrible in the United States, but in other markets, especially China, it was just gangbusters, and that's the only reason it succeeded.
Yeah, that makes sense. A lot of people, because, like, we don't get cool stuff here. Like, especially en masse. When something's like, when somebody makes a movie and they're like, the whole point of this movie is to be dope as hell.
Yeah.
And, like, everyone's like, I don't know how I feel about that. It's got to be, like, some edgelord nonsense. And it's like, no, like unself-aware edgelord nonsense where like a guy, like his wife is killed and the guy's like, I gotta go do murders now, and you know, this is better. This is like this guy's brother's killed. While they was attached in the brains, and he was like, oh snap, that's sad. But then it's like kind of a love story, but not really. Mm-hmm. And then they spend a lot of time talking about monster brains. It's great.
Yeah. Charlie Day just wanted to hump one.
I love the dynamic of the two, like, scientists just being equally fucking weird and hating each other for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just two different versions of, like, on the spectrum.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like the detail that after they drift, though, they're a lot closer.
Yeah.
They become friends again. Like, it's real subtle, but they just like, oh, they like each other now. Like, it's chill.
Also, whoever's idea was, maybe this was in the script if it was fantastic, but if this was like a production designer or maybe the director who said, oh, after they drift, he's not used to it, the numbers guy, he needs to throw up. Well, they're in a bunch of rubble. Let's just have a toilet there, and he throws up in a toilet not connected to anything.
Yeah.
That's weird. I also was thinking about this early in the movie. My first note was, are Yancey and Riley the most Americans to ever American? They come off like anime versions of American characters.
Yeah.
In anime. Like that's how they function. And I kind of love them for that, especially because Charlie Hunnam is like not American at all. And he just is doing the weirdest, like deep growly accent where he's just like, ugh. Everything is difficult for me, and I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I read that Del Toro took a lot of influence from oh fudge, like Cyborgs 43 or whatever. Was it that one? It was a like 1960s anime that he's like, I took inspiration, but he made sure none of the character designs were referencing that. And then also they had hundreds of like together designs for kaiju and monsters, but they whittled them down by every week. They would have like the team vote for their favorite to whittle. Like, I think it was like a bracket style of like, what are going to be like the 10 of each that win out, and we're going to design those fully.
That's like cool.
That's like a cool thing to do at your job every day. Like, these are the kind of things that make me go, I should work on movies, because that sounds fun as hell. Like, but you don't have to wake up in something. I was gonna say something, but it's gone. Don't worry about it. Just get to me.
I hope that's how the Scooby-Doo offices go. Like, they make up a bunch of monsters and they're like, let's whittle it down. Because then also you could put out like, oh, the art of this season of Scooby-Doo. Here are the ones that didn't make the cut.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, but I wanted this one too.
I do feel like it was a missed opportunity with the sequel to not go into like the other side, the other dimension.
Oh.
Like the people that was the like weird aliens that were like apparently trying to colonize Earth. Like what are they about? I'm like curious about that now. I'm like, what are they even like? Like, what do they do? Who are they friends? How do they have sex? What's going on?
But I think that's kind of why I like it, is the mystery of it.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Well, I mean,
the mystery.
Maybe because we don't need to, because it's like, well, why did like Britain and America, why do they want to colonize so much?
So that we can spread freedom and save the world, obviously.
Okay. All right, you want to know what? It's completely different.
To civilize the roving savages out there or whatever, I think. Yeah, we're helping those people.
Okay.
Yeah, helping them for sure.
And that's what the kaiju wanted to do to us.
Exactly. So why didn't we let them win?
Yeah, they wanted us.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's what America's all about. We just found better colonizers.
Yeah.
That's why every kaiju pilot had to die, because they were wrong ultimately.
Mm-hmm.
I did love that they were like, oh, we don't need Jaegers anymore because we're going to build a wall. And it's like, that is the dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard, but also so fucking accurate.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Oh, it should have been this, like, let's build the wall to keep people safe, but have Jaegers stationed outside the wall and ready to attack, because then, like, well, the wall is going to slow down the kaiju, so if that Jaeger fails, we can send another one out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that way the wall, you would think the wall would be there to just help out the situation, not be the whole solution.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was just, that's the most like give up strategy ever. We're just going to build a wall and hope for the best and put all the rich people in the middle.
Yeah, let's just have every country is a gated community now.
That would be so depressing. Yeah, I was thinking about that. Not being the main character in the world of Pacific Rim seems like it'd be horrifying.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I feel like I would live my whole life just completely differently.
Especially if all of a sudden these guys started coming out of Lake Michigan.
Yeah.
We think we're safe, but we're not now.
No.
Then it's like that PS2 game, Michigan from Hell.
What?
There's a survival horror game where they're in Chicago and then you're like filming. You're a camera guy with a news reporter, and there's like, I think, like monsters coming out of Lake Michigan.
So like, it's like that movie, Section 8? No.
Section 9. No, District 9.
No, not District 9. It's got TJ Miller in it before everybody hated him.
Cloverfield.
Yes, Cloverfield. It's like Cloverfield, but a game. That sounds really cool.
Yeah,
kind of interesting.
It's pretty fun.
It's always weird when I found out about like a game that was made a long time ago that was like really ambitious that I didn't think existed. Like, you just told me about something I didn't even know was real.
Yeah, like Katamari Damacy.
See, but I remember Katamari Damacy, and everybody was like really fucking hype about that. They were like, "This is the greatest game that's ever existed! Oh my god, you roll the ball around and it like takes everything up."
And then eventually you get to like pick up like buildings.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's what you want to do in life, is pick up buildings while rolling a ball.
Exactly.
All to show your dad, the king god or whoever, that you're worthy.
I thought he was trying to like make a planet or something. You know what? I say that I never played the game. I should have played the game, but I decided not to be cool and get a bunch of licensed video games, like that Ninja Turtles game and Shaman King for some weird reason.
And Cartoon Network Racing.
Oh, no, I didn't get that one.
You gotta get Cartoon Network Racing.
Everything I like to play had cute anime boys in it, and that was like my thing. I don't know why.
Oh, so you're gonna say Chicken from Cow and Chicken isn't a cute anime boy?
No.
Dexter from Dexter's Lab isn't a cute anime boy?
No.
Oh, but what about Johnny Bravo? He a hunky anime boy.
No.
He is too.
Johnny Bravo is a man.
No, he's a boy, how he acts.
That's the scary thing about Johnny Bravo. He is a man and he acts like a boy.
Yeah.
He goes on a date with a deer, though. That's pretty progressive.
It's really weird how that show was like on TV for children. It was like normalized sexual harassment. You guys, it's okay. It's fine. Just
Yeah.
The main character is just like a serial problem.
I heard a comedian was on Never Not Funny, and he was talking about, I think he was going through a divorce. So he was like talking a lot of like dealing with his wife and his ex-wife, you know, at the same time. And people who worked at Hanna-Barbera were there, and they were like, hey, we work for Hanna-Barbera. Would you like want to write for the show that we're making? And he's like, you just saw what I was doing, right? And they're like, oh, no, like that. Yeah, that's what we want. That's what we want. It's Johnny Bravo. And he's like, okay, I guess. And then he worked for Hanna-Barbera for a long time. And then I think created Danny Phantom.
Wait, what? Who are you talking about?
The guy who created, not that one fuck boy, Butch Hartman, the other guy who created Danny Phantom.
Steven Silver?
Maybe?
Because I feel like that, like, I'm always curious about the mystery of Butch Hartman, but that's a whole nother thing altogether. I think that it's really interesting that they took his sad, depressed man energy, like divorced man energy, and decided to put it into Johnny Bravo as if that's a thing children need to see.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's not... Have you ever been around people, guys who divorce? They change, and it's a dark time.
Not really, because most of the men in my family divorce their mother of their children to like go with like the younger lady.
My parents, people in my family never get married. Actually, there's a long line of people who have never been married, just producing children. So I didn't experience divorce. I just didn't have a dad. But I feel like it's the same kind of person.
Yeah.
The same kind of like...
Have any of our friends gotten divorced, Nicole?
A lot of them have gotten engaged and then not engaged.
Okay, yeah. But I feel like it's like,
or not married. Yeah.
They're better off for that.
Yeah.
Like they were, they realized, yeah, I shouldn't be doing this.
Yeah.
I mean, usually it's a good thing if people get divorced in the long run.
Yeah.
Like no one... What was it that one douchebag said that was actually kind of funny? No good marriage ever ended in divorce.
Yeah.
You know, nobody's having a great relationship is getting divorced. So it's fine. It's a good thing.
Unless it's like an Air Bud situation where it's like, oh, I have cancer, but I don't want to tell you. Let's get divorced. And then they kind of like die by themselves.
Yeah.
Okay, I've never seen Air Bud. I think it's time for me to mention that.
Those specifics don't happen in Air Bud, but it's like, hey, let's like be free, leave, go. I don't want you here anymore. But really, they do.
If you had told me, if you had left it at that, I would have believed it and walked around with the belief that there was an Air Bud movie where two people get divorced and then one of them dies of cancer and then the movie ends.
Well, in this scenario, Air Bud or the kid would be the ones with cancer.
So Pacific Rim.
Oh, yeah. Air Bud's one of those cancer sniffing dogs.
Who says a dog can't be drift compatible?
Just two dogs piloting.
I don't know why I wrote this down, but dimension portals, bad. What?
Okay.
Dimension portals. Yeah, probably bad, right?
And I wrote down, hey, Legendary Pictures reuse those assets of the San Francisco Bridge in next year's Godzilla.
Yeah.
They should. Movies cost a lot of money, so I'm not mad at them. I didn't know that, but I know it now, so that's cool.
Mm-hmm. So we find out that in like 2013, kaiju started coming from the ocean through this dimensional portal, and they were winning, but we found out jets, we can kill them, but it took so long, so they create these Jaegers, these huge mech, but once they start killing, getting effective, which is weird why we didn't get more into this, maybe the next movie will, they talk about how the radiation from their blood creates kaiju blue in the ocean, and I wrote down, will this movie give us the kaiju blues? But it didn't, guys. I was excited about it.
Yeah, there's a lot of like, I don't know, like lore or like world building with this. Like this movie was so well written. Like they really paid attention to the details and it's so good.
Now, maybe on a Patreon episode, Nicole, what I will do is I'll get the prequel series that is a graphic novel. I'll read that and I'll give you the deets to see if anything was filled in.
Yeah.
Or,
I mean, it's a bummer that this didn't become like a whole franchise, kind of, because I feel like there's a few places you could go, a few different movies, a animated series.
There is.
That would be cool. Oh, there is. You're right. There is. I didn't watch it. I just suggested something that I didn't watch. That's crazy. I could have sat down and watched this and been like, oh, that was a cool experience, but I didn't do that. And then I suggested it. That's how people lose money.
Yeah. Nicole, well, you were going to say something?
Oh, I was going to say you got to read Ultra Mega.
Oh, yeah, but for the purpose of what we're talking about now.
Yeah, I just want you to read Ultra Mega, and I'm so pissed it only got one volume. I'm so pissed because it's so fucking good.
There's more coming out.
For real?
Yeah, I heard this recently. That
Holy
they releasing
shit.
like a big. It's gonna start coming out again, and they're releasing like a big first issue for the comeback, and then like it's gonna be more after that.
Yes.
I haven't read it yet. I have it in my backpack, ready to be read. Like I bought it a while ago, and I just haven't read it. I gotta sit down and read the whole thing. The art is really crazy.
It's so good. Fuck yeah.
You want to know what? Throw it in my pile, Nicole.
Okay.
This huge pile that you can just see half of it right here.
Yes.
Of
yeah,
books.
Listeners, read Ultra Mega. It's a comic. It's so good.
And read Godzilla Skate or Die. The first issue was real good.
No, read Ultra Mega.
No, read Godzilla Skate or Die.
Oh?
Why not both?
Okay.
You know?
So we find out that the Jaeger pilots, they've become rock stars because they're dealing death to these kaiju, saving hundreds of thousands, if not everyone on the planet. But they're showing them, instead of showing them on like Time magazine, this is very much like, oh wow, we are in 2013. They show them on the cover of Wired magazine, and I'm like, okay, yeah, this is a timestamp. Because Wired magazine was like, if you're a nerd dude, you knew about Wired magazine in 2013.
Okay. Hell yeah.
I like that the movie starts. The first timestamp we get is 2020. So like this is already we're in the middle of the movie right now. Like what's the name hasn't even gone back. It's next year is when Riley decides to go back to become a Jaeger pilot and stuff. Like we still in the middle of the kaiju renaissance that's happening. All these kaiju coming out more and more frequently. They building the walls right now and paying people in food.
Yeah, you gotta work for rations, Nicole.
Yeah. 9 to 5. Just
feel like
make a living.
Why not work for room and board as well?
I mean, they probably do.
Ooh, what I would have done is made a secret compartment in the wall and I would have lived in there.
Whoa. Like how you hear about people like living inside walls and stuff.
Uh-huh. Do a
Of
bad
a wall.
Ronald.
Yeah.
But like when Kanye lived in that stadium.
Okay, but he paid to live in that stadium. He wasn't like Phantom of the Stadiuming it.
I thought he kind of was Phantom of the Stadium. I didn't know if he was paid. I didn't know if he's paying to live there, but I definitely think he was lurking.
He was there to, we don't need to get into Kanye, guys, but he was there like to listen to his, kind of like, we'll talk about a much better person, Lil Jon. He, in his house, has a room that is the size of a club that he likes to perform at, to like DJ and play music. So he has a sound system that a club would be in. So when he mixes something down, he goes into that room and listens to it to be like, oh, this is where I will be playing this. It sounds good in this space. And I'm assuming that's what Kanye was doing, because he's like, I'm going to be playing stadiums. Guess what, guys? He is not anymore. So he's like, I want to hear what this will sound like over a stadium system.
That makes sense. I like that two brothers running a train on a girl was in play, but Kanye was like a sore topic.
Yeah, man, fuck that dude. Brothers running train is okay. It's
wholesome.
Yes.
It's wholesome family bonding.
Yes, it helps them better kill kaiju. So next time you hear like in that episode of Nathan For You, where there were two brothers who actually did run train on women, you want to know what? Women are getting run train on them. Let's not let the women enjoy this, okay? So
hopefully,
I mean, it's consensual train running. I had friends who liked, I had both friends who enjoyed running train, and I knew many women in high school who enjoyed getting a train ran on them.
In high school?
Yeah. I hung out with the dirty kids, okay?
Wow. Man, my high school experience was not this exciting.
Where'd you go? In the city or in the suburbs or rural area?
Kind of both rural and the city. So I went to high school for a little bit in Michigan, in like Holt, Michigan, which is a town that Nicole knows nobody cares about. Then I came back to Chicago and finished high school here.
Yeah,
so
I feel like Holt should be trains being run on people.
I've heard rumors, but I never believed anybody, because it was so boring that people would just say things all the time. They were just coming up with bullshit because they didn't have anything better to do.
I wish I could remember my friend Terry's friend who, like, Terry and him, that's just what they did. I would be in his home playing Tony Hawk's Underground, and he's like, yeah, we're going to go run train on so-and-so. I'm like, okay. And then they go upstairs and run train.
What the fuck?
Yeah, it's what they did.
But why were you there?
I was just always there. I was there just like watering down margarita mix to drink it as juice and playing Tony Hawk Underground. I didn't enjoy being at my own home is what I'm saying.
So Jimmy, we're just going to go quick run this train on Jessica. If you want to do some margarita mix, don't even worry about it. Have a great time. Enjoy that Tony Hawk's Pro Skater.
Yeah. I say 2 thumbs up. Then I'd put on headphones because, that was the person I was. And then I'd vibe out to underground rap music while playing Tony Hawk, knowing in my heart that my friend's having a good time. And I'm not even talking about Terry. I'm talking about the lady, because that lady was my friend as well. I introduced them.
Wow. True love.
Uh-huh. I'm the best wingman, okay? Because I'm not gonna find you one guy. I'm gonna find you 2 at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't stand in the way. There's no like emotions and jealousy. Because I personally don't think you could. I don't think you could trust me with that information. I feel like I would tell everybody.
Oh, they were telling everybody.
They were telling everyone. All right.
God, I wish I could remember Terry's friend. I want to shout him out.
Don't.
Well, he's still living. Terry isn't,
Oh,
okay.
That's sad. Rest in peace, Terry.
Salute to him. He was a good guy. He pleased many women.
Oh, my God.
He did.
What a great way to be remembered, I think.
My friend Terry loved to skateboard and run train.
Yeah. I honestly think that's how a lot of guys want to be remembered.
Oh, absolutely. Nicole, you and I should run train on someone. Let's do it.
Okay.
Let's do it. Daimon, the Discord is not picking up his laughter, but he is laughing hard at that. I'm just saying we could please someone.
Nicole's face and like just her general reply to that was so funny.
I do fear though, like afterwards, I'd be like, so like, or I guess she would say like, well, that was fun, right? And I go, oh yeah, it was fun. And she just grabs my knee and she goes, no, that was fun. I'm like, oh no, I've unleashed a monster.
Oh no.
And she says, next time that lady and I are running train on you. And I go, it's a living.
Oh my God.
Or you could end up in a raw situation and just be there.
In a raw situation?
Yeah, like with Friends.
Ross.
That's
A raw situation.
Yeah. Not like a Ross Dressfulest, but like like Ross Geller. Yeah, his wife, they were supposed to have like a threesome, and then like that turned into that other lady and his wife not including him and then getting married later.
Yeah.
So,
Also, of course, Ross is going to whine about that. It's like, yeah, the person you love is like having sex with a hot lady. That's a win-win, guys.
I think the problem was that they reached a point where they didn't want him involved at all.
Oh, okay, then that's no. He should be able to watch. Because then it's fun for everyone.
Fun for the whole family.
And then you should say, hey, and how about you run train on me?
Yeah.
So Pacific Rim.
So Paschetti Rim.
We see these brothers, and I'm like, Nicole, is that the same actor? And she goes, no. I go,
No, you
"Man."
said, are they twins?
Yeah, meaning like, or are they the same actor? Twins are the same actor, okay?
Okay.
And you go, no. And I go, okay. And then they're like, hey, brother. And I'm like, oh, okay. They found two dudes who actually look like brothers.
Yeah.
Are they brothers?
Pretty similar. I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think they're brothers.
So this movie pulls a lot from Neon Genesis, I feel like, because they have the drifting where like you're plugged in and you need to like sync up with the robot, and they have the pee-pee goo like that goes into their helmets, and then they're like, oh, I'm all in piss now.
See,
Yeah.
my first thought was G Gundam. I don't know if you saw G Gundam. G Gundam was it was basically Gundams, except there was a world tournament where all the Gundams were all these racial stereotypes, and they fought each other, and everybody was a stereotype, and they like had this cool way where like it was similar. The way they piloted, they didn't like sit down. They like had suits on, and then they would like move their body, and the Gundam would move at the same time. It was also just like everybody was just like a massive stereotype of like whatever country they was from. So like the like American guy, his Gundam boxed, surfed, and played football at the same time. It was and his name was Chippity Rocket, and he had 3 girlfriends.
What the fuck?
It's the best. It's like amazing. You can watch it on YouTube, I think.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's a bunch of my friends who were that was their Gundam series. They're like, oh man, screw Gundam Wing, no, G Gundam rules. And I'm like, okay, I'll check it out, I guess.
I love seeing like what other countries how they portray Americans.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
I think it's because we're like so arrogant about ourselves that it's like, yeah, if you do there's no offensive stereotype to us because we are just offensive in general.
I don't know. I disagree. I think like to me, at least it's like, yeah, we're ridiculous and suck.
Yeah, that's what I'm meaning.
Suck.
Yeah.
So it's just like, do it. I want to see it.
Yeah.
It's like in Lucha Libre when they bring an American down, a United States American. It's always just, oh, we're flashy, we're full of themselves. Like Chris Jericho was even though he's Canadian, it was still being like the flashy, like, hey, I'm from the States kind of guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it like even Vampiro, but he was like the gothic version of that.
Okay.
But man, that dude was handsome as fuck in the 90s. Still is, but like, ooh, baby.
Man, yeah, wrestling is cool.
I already asked this, but yeah, you think we would be able to drift together, Nicole?
Yeah.
All right. You think we'd be able to run train together?
Yeah.
All right, hell yeah.
I believe in you guys.
Guys, sign up patreon.com/MLM pod. If we can get up to $500, Nicole and I will run train on someone.
And then we'll tell you about it.
Yeah. We'll have the train is just like we're like, yeah, come over. And then we just kind of like podcast at them. That's kind of running train on them. Like you ask them a hard-hitting question, then I ask them a hard-hitting question.
Yeah.
And she's like, my ear holes are filled from both angles because I'll pan me to the right, you to the left.
But then she's like deeply disappointed because she was expecting sex.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As is the way with us. I'm kidding.
Deeply disappointed.
Yeah. No, deeply disappointing.
Oh.
Yeah.
Because that's what all our guests, when they come over, they're like, we're fucking, right? And we're like, no, we're podcasting. And they're like, oh.
Everybody? Man, that's crazy. You guys must put out a real, like, vibe then.
They're like, why else would I come all the way to your apartment?
Yeah, also, it could be that, like, I'm always sending, like, an upside-down pineapple to people. That's, like, code for swingers.
Apparently, yeah.
Okay.
Upside-down pineapple cake, though, is not swingers.
Why not?
I don't know. Oh, it's swingers like the movie Swingers, where they go swing dancing.
Okay.
You know, like Your Money Baby, that kind of swingers.
Yeah.
Oh,
Vince
yeah, I've
Vaughn.
heard about that. It's got Vince Vaughn and John Favreau in it, who also makes movies and was in Friends. So that's a whole connection. We just connected them all together.
Nicole, who's your favorite friend? Is it Chandler?
No.
Is it Phoebe?
Maybe.
Is it the monkey?
I kind of like Joey.
Yeah, Joey is he's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're always fun.
I like Monica.
Yeah.
I could see myself becoming a Monica.
No.
Yeah, I do drugs now, so never mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
She should do drugs. She'd be much better.
Yeah.
You chill out a lot. I think she might gain all that weight back and get sad.
No, man, I do drugs and haven't gained weight, except muscle. Nothing better than ripping a fat stogie and lifting weights.
I don't know. I feel like the best part about like smoking weed is the munchies. It's like I love eating food at that point. Everything tastes so good.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
why you just have a bunch of apples.
Yeah.
You like healthy? Oh man, I just get a bunch of junk food. I'm sorry. I'm not. I don't think that far ahead.
Yeah, I'm just like dipping apples in peanut butter and having a good time.
But then, like, I don't know. Sometimes then when I eat it when I'm not stoned, I'm like disappointed because I was like, oh yeah, last time I had that, it tasted so fucking good. And then I eat it and I'm like, what the heck? And then I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah, if I eat like a frozen burrito, chimichanga, and I put the Hot Ones Last Dab sauce on it, and I'm like, oh, the heat is so good. I'm super stoned. It's fantastic. But if I do that not stoned, I'm like, okay, well now it's just like, just kind of hot.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's good.
Nods and agreements.
So we find out that the kaiju are leveling, they're adapting, but then we find out they're just level 4 kaiju, and I'm like, just grind, and then you'll become stronger than them, and they'll never have a chance.
Exactly.
Like in RPGs?
Yeah, no, I was just thinking about how much I hate grinding in RPGs. Because you got to like fight the same boss like 600 times, and then you just like, you know what? I don't even like this dude anymore. It's not fun anymore. And then you finally get leveled up to the W you need, so you realize you just did this all for virtual nonsense. It's like, oh.
I do get there. I got there on Legend of Dragoon recently. I guess this was like 3 years ago, but it's because I way over leveled. And it's like, okay, well, now I just don't want to do the story. But I think like Final Fantasy VIII, I've talked about it before, the leveling in that is so intricate where you don't want to level up your characters. You want to level up your summons so they get stronger, so the monsters don't get stronger because the monsters level with you. But then you can like use the abilities that your summons have to create more magic that you can junction to your stats, and then you become super strong that way. Well, as there's layers to that game, and I love it so much.
That's a game I've always wanted to play, mostly because Squall was such a badass in Kingdom Hearts. Like, he just was like, I was like, who is this dude? And why is he so awesome and hot? Like, but how do I get to hang out with him some more? But I never did. I only played the first level because I had it on a demo disc and I used to replay it constantly.
It's really fun.
Might be something I do. I might have to get that.
Yeah, get the remaster of it. You can do the like ×3 for battles and all of that. It's really good.
Yeah, that sounds cool.
You can come over and you can look through the strategy guide.
Ooh, strategy guys. I mean, I like miss stuff like that. It used to always have like cool art in them and stuff like that. And now it's just like, and now everything's online and you don't own any games and the world is crazy and I'm old now. Young people, you know?
Oh, young people these days saying sheesh.
Young people in their skibbity toilets.
Yeah.
toilets.
How about you clean the toilets, okay? Because you're always pissing on the rims. Speaking of rims.
Sticking out their Giat for the Rizzler.
Let's get back to the specific rim.
Oh, yeah, we already said, like, coastal wall is greater than any offense. I'm like, no, guys, you should also have the oceans covered. And you need the oceans to survive. Like, how far out are the coastal walls? It looks like they were straight up on the beaches.
Yeah, it's honestly like a bummer because it's so, like, real.
Yeah.
And that we would come up with a dumbass solution like that and spend millions and millions of dollars on it. And the whole time you're just thinking, we could have solved this we could have solved this earlier, but nobody wanted to. And it's just like, it makes you sad, which is, I feel like that's the energy I'm bringing to this podcast. I'm making it sad. I'm just making it hard for James right now. He's like trying to keep the energy high, and I'm just like dragging it down.
No, let's sink it to the depths. Let's go to that rift.
Let's go to the rift. Look those demons in the eye and say, "There's a bomb, my butt." Okay.
At this point, there's a 5-year jump, but like I didn't get that because we've talked further in, but it's weird that the brother dies and then we see the brother who lived working on the wall, and I'm like, wow, he went to shit in like a few months, I guess, but it's been 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, but they tell you pretty.
Yeah, he says
pretty
like
quickly.
It's been 5 years.
Yeah.
But like it should have said 5 years later.
Nah, it's
fine.
fine.
It said 2025.
It did?
Yeah, there's like it had like a text on the thing.
I might have been writing a note.
Probably.
So the movie didn't fail, you failed. You got to accept that failure.
And that my next note isn't until we see Ron Perlman.
Wow.
I was just enraptured with this movie. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Well, it's so cool. You get to see all the dope, like that's when you get introduced to all the like dope like pilots and stuff. And like that's one thing about this movie. I'm so curious about the other pilots. You don't get to spend a ton of time with them. Like there's one where it's the Chinese team and they're like 3 guys instead of 2. So it's like 3 brothers and they all drift together. Mm-hmm. And then you have these like stereotypical Russians that are like way too big. And it's like, I've never seen a Russian person in real life look like that. But I guess, we just gonna keep the stereotype going.
Oh, well, you've never seen my friend Vladimir Putin. He's big, strong.
Oh my God.
He looks like such a shorty. I've seen him. He's short and weird. He looks like a troll man.
Well, I've only ever seen him on top of a big horse. Shirtless, looking ripped.
Flexing.
Oh my God, flexing physically and metaphorically.
Seen those pictures. I'm not impressed.
So, like, what happens in between this, guys?
Oh God, I don't. A lot. You got Charlie Day. They're arguing about the best way to stop these monsters, these kaiju. They want to drop a bomb in the crevice of dimensions. And Charlie Day is like, well, we could drift with a kaiju brain. And everyone's like, that's stupid.
Don't kill you.
Don't do that.
I wanted to look up the comic and I started writing out Atlantic Rim. I was like, wait, nope, that is the wrong one.
Yeah.
That exists though. I'm super curious what Atlantic Rim is now that we bring it up. Like, obviously it's just a ripoff of this.
Yeah.
Made hastily, but like, what's it like? Like,
it's
is
bad.
It like
Damon, you should know this about us. Previously to today, we had never seen Pacific Rim, but we have seen Atlantic Rim because it was Mystery Science Theatered.
Oh, okay, man. So yeah, so it's bad. Is it are the special effects like horrible, or is it just is it like kind of watchable? Like, I don't know. I'm curious.
I remembered it being fun, but it might have just been because it was being riffed.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't. It was, yeah. I don't really remember.
It sounded like it hurt you guys and that we shouldn't bring it up anymore.
It's a sore spot, yeah.
It's a sore spot. Atlantic Rim is a sore spot. And I'm sorry I brought it up.
I liked it. I brought it up.
What else happens? We get Mako.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we get introduced to Mako Mori, and she's like this cool girl who like, well, she comes off kind of meek at first, but then she's like, I want to be a pilot. And then Idris Elba's character, who is named Stryker Pendergast, which is the craziest name ever. Like,
love it.
That's not a real person's name. It's amazing. It's the most anime name ever.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, you can't do it because you have revenge on the mind. And she's just like, and it's gonna get in your way. And she's like, whatever, right? But then she sees Charlie Hunnam, and she's like, oh man, that's a cute ass white boy. And then they like testing all the other possible pilots that can drift with him. But then he's like, let's her try, because she's like judging him, like, your technique is weak, son. And then he's like, then they like fight, and then they just like, it's like all cool and stuff because they like sword fighting kind of with like wooden swords.
Yeah.
And then they had this like cool like thing where they kind of like, they like fighting good together at the same time. I don't know how to describe it. It's they fighting, flirting or whatever. And they're like, we drift compatible. And Idris Elba was still like, nah, it's not a good idea. But then he changes his mind. But then we find out why he was mad, why he suggested they don't do it in the first place, because they try to drift for the first time. And she has a flashback so intense that it causes her to almost like
kill everyone.
Shoot a robot, like shoot a laser thing.
I think she should have.
What?
Shown them what's really out there, you know?
What?
Shown them what for?
Oh,
like, oh, you're not going to make me a pilot, huh? Well, this is what, how powerful I am.
Okay. Yeah.
Put them in their place.
Put them in their place.
That's the best way to do it. Like, get a big robot and kind of just, push someone around. Oh my God.
That's not, she wasn't going to push them around. She was just going to murder everyone.
This is what they should have done. Gotten 3 of the Jaegers and just had them run train on each other.
Oh my God, James.
That's a different Pacific Rim Job. It was a different movie that I watched way earlier, and it had a lot more like sex in it.
But it wasn't that sexual because it's just robots.
No, robots, right?
And then at the final climax is like, oh yeah, we've had a dick the entire time, just like they had a sword the entire time in this one, and then it extends out, and they're like, "Ma, never."
Oh yeah, because that's what happens, because they fuck up at first, and then they're like, "Oh no, y'all can't go out there because a new kaiju shows up." But then when the other 3 machines go out there to fight this new kaiju that shows up, they all get bodied, right?
Uh-huh.
And then the only one that survives is like the Australian dude, his dad. But then the power goes out, and then they like, look, the Gypsy Danger, which is the name of the kaiju, which is right now a problematic name, but that's fine. Whatever, we'll just pretend like it didn't happen. And it is like the Gypsy Danger is atomic, so like we can go out there. And so then they go out there and they like fight a kaiju, and then another one pops up, and it just keeps going from there. All the while, Charlie Day is out trying to get kaiju brains, and he meets Ron Perlman, and we caught up to your notes.
Yeah, pretty much. Nicole, did you take notes for this?
No.
Okay, well, yeah. My next note is Hannibal Chow.
I mean, I wanted to talk about how, it's frustrating. They had a fucking sword the whole time and didn't use it.
Yeah, they're like, oh, we have one thing, and they use it at the most inopportune time when a bat kaiju flies them into the stratosphere, and they're like, oh, we know what to do. Let's cut off one of the wing. It's not like, hey, let's like stab it and then we'll like ride it back to Earth. Like it's dead carcass, but the wings will cause some drift on our rim. Yeah. But no.
Okay, so in defense of that, I feel like I forget important details all the time.
Yeah.
Like, I would forget I had a sword, especially if it's my first time doing it. I'm like, oh shit, the sword, that's right. Like, I've done that while playing video games. I'm like fighting a monster, and then I like get bodied by like this thing, and then I'm like, oh shit, that's right. I had a whole move that was just for that. I could have healed. I completely forget about it. So like, I gotta defend my fellow forgetters.
Yeah. Or they weren't told about it. That happens in video games where it's like, oh, wait, I had like a limit break this entire time. The game never told me about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But it would have been cool if they wrote it down. I did like the scene where they was re-entering the atmosphere, though. That was pretty exciting.
Yeah. And then they land in that soccer field.
Yeah, and it's just like a big thing, and then Charlie Day shows back up, and he's just like, "I did it! I've got another kaiju brain," and they just like, "This is crazy."
But they get that kaiju brain from Ron Perlman as Hannibal Chow, and the reason why he has that name is he chose his favorite fictional character's name and his second favorite restaurant in Brooklyn, Hannibal Chow.
This is what I meant earlier about you can tell it was written by a white dude because they found a way to make a character named Hannibal Chow a white dude in the middle of China. Right?
Yeah.
So they like go to China and he has to find this secret underground dude and he is the only white dude there and he comes and the like implication is that this white man came from Brooklyn in America, set up shop in China and became the best at running kaiju parts to people, which is just like a real I don't know how likely that is. I feel like the Chinese market would have already been set up by like triads or something.
Yeah, probably. But maybe he's better, you know? But I did read trivia about those fancy shoes that he had. They were like metal. They looked very like extravagant. Ron Perlman kept those shoes, but then his wife melted them down and made heels for herself.
Wild.
That's awesome.
Real badass.
I will say, if it wasn't Ron Perlman, it would be a lot worse in the movie. Like that character would have bothered me a lot more. But it's Ron Perlman, so it's awesome.
I think because what Ron Perlman brings to it is another actor would have been like, no, I'm the coolest guy. But Ron Perlman's like, no, this dude would be absurd, right? So yeah, I'm going to play him like an absurd man because that's what he is.
But Ron Perlman is like naturally kind of cool. So it's like also he's cool at the same time. It's kind of great.
Yeah. Him just telling Hollywood executives like, yeah, how about you meet me, okay? I'll beat the shit out of you.
More than one way to lose your house.
Yeah. That was fantastic. I'll never forget it.
And like he's fucking Hellboy. Like he's imposing. You don't want him being angry with you.
Yeah. He's got the like really intense voice. It's crazy.
So when I think they're in Hong Kong. So Charlie Day drifted with a brain, which means like they have a hive mind. So they have told this brain communicated with the other kaiju like, hey, you need to find this guy. So they're looking for him and they're in this like bunker and all the people are like, it's the little guy. He's after the kaiju's after the little guy. And then this kaiju like licks him with his bioluminescent tongue and it was real cool, but also gross.
Yeah, because at one point like they rip out the bioluminescent tongue. Very exciting. But like after that, there's a kaiju and like the heart. They're like trying to get the brain from the kaiju because the kaijus have two brains. They have one that helps them like move around and another one that's for like regular thoughts. And Charlie Day is trying to get the second brain, but they can't get it. But then they find like it beating, and then he's like, "Oh snap! It's pregnant!" And it like the like kaiju baby like frees itself, and it like goes out and just like eats a bunch of. Does it eat people? It eats.
Ron Perlman.
It eats Ron Perlman right after he like it seems to die, and then he's like, oh, I knew it was gonna die the whole time. I wasn't scared, blah blah blah. And then it like eats Ron Perlman, and then I think they use its brain to drift again between him and the other scientist dude. They team up and drift again. The other scientist dude is like, I'm gonna help you out. And he's like, for real? Because like every other time I talked about this, you told me I was crazy. And he's like, we gotta do this to save the world.
I want to bring up the fact that it was really cool. They brought up, they're like, oh, drifting works both ways, you dumbass. So when you drifted with the kaiju brain, they learned everything that we're trying to do. Now we're fucked because of you.
Yeah, that was a really cool detail because it was such a logical thing.
Yeah.
Progression of information. It was like, oh, he was like, I found out, like, they told you. It was like, oh, I found out that the kaijus work as a hive mind. And he was just like, if they work as a hive mind and you drift through the kaiju brain, like, dumbass like this, they know what you thought too. And it's like, oh, that's crazy.
If I were to have drifted with that kaiju, it would have messaged back to them and they would have said, you know, like, that place is real sad. We should just leave them alone.
Yeah. They would have been more confident in their defeat if they drifted with me. They would have been like, oh, yeah, we can really handle this. This is going to be okay. The one thing about the kaiju being pregnant that kind of threw me off was this wasn't like a problem. It just kind of confused me because Charlie found out that the kaijus are like created by these aliens or whatever. But he didn't say that they were born. So I assumed that meant that they was like all like cloned from the same material, but then it was just like, oh, it's pregnant. And then I was just like, does that mean the kaijus had sex at some point? I know we're talking about sex a lot, but like, really, are they like fucking, and were they fucking wild after they came to Earth? Did they just get a quick one in before they like started attacking cities?
I think what happened is they created this kaiju to be pregnant. So when it comes, it can then like have another, because maybe at the time, how like they were doing these riffs, they could only put 1 or 2 through at a time. But if they're pregnant, well, that's still technically 1. Maybe that was the aliens' logic. I will read the comics, guys, and I'll figure this out.
Okay, report back.
Yeah.
I think Chicago Comics has some, so like in trades.
Yeah, probably.
I'll look on Sunday.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Probably in the sale book section.
Yeah, I love the sale book section. Everybody, check when you go to the comic book store, check your local sale book section. It's dope as hell.
Please check it. Like, I want that stuff off my shelf.
Oh my gosh.
Would it be cool if I had a bioluminescent tongue?
Yeah.
Because, it's dark outside. Oh, James, just show your tongue.
Yeah.
I feel like you live your life with everybody assuming that you listen to EDM.
Me?
Yeah. And like they're like, oh, that person does Molly and listens to EDM as a lifestyle.
No, I do listen to Venga Boys and stuff like that, which is technically...
I'm talking about those people who, you see them, they come to Chicago every once in a while for like festivals, and they like both hippies and somehow racist at the same time. And they're like actively a problem because they always drunk. It's weird.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I feel like they would assume that you were with them because you had a bioluminescent tongue. Like they'd be like, "Oh, this guy's with us," and you'd be like, "No."
I'd say no. Unfortunately, I was born via a train being run on a kaiju,
and all I got was this bioluminescent tongue,
which weighs quite a bit.
Just about a bunch of people like randomly having sex with kaiju bodies, or maybe it could come from the fact that like people were using kaiju material as aphrodisiacs.
Oh, yeah.
And without knowing what it was. So, like, you know, your dad's just shooting out weird kaiju DNA.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, because one dude was like, hey, you need kaiju bones? I use it as a way to get hard.
Yeah.
Which is a good detail, Nicole, as you were saying, with world building.
Yeah.
Like, people would fucking do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is when we get the beautiful toilet out of nowhere. Let's barf into it.
Yeah. It's a really great scene, honestly.
This is crazy. The same exact year Sharknado came out, we get they Sharknado a kaiju where they just hold up the sword and it like goes through the sword and it just bisects a shark looking thing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
I gotta see when Sharknado came out and was released.
Yeah, that was really cool. That was, yeah.
Yeah, this movie is the story is in world building and stuff. Everything is good at, just really great at facilitating excuses for these cool kaiju battles.
Yeah, and I like there's so many times where they're also really good at like building anticipation, like where I was just like, oh shit, they gotta do the thing.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. This is like, oh shit.
Guys, if you were to sit down at nighttime on July 11th, 2013, to watch sci-fi original movie Sharknado, you would have seen someone hold up a chainsaw and bisect a shark down the middle. Now, if you were like, oh man, that's great. Hey, do you want to tomorrow go see the premiere first day in theater in the United States of Pacific Rim on July 12th, 2013? You'd see that same thing again.
Weird.
That's so cool.
A day in between each other. Because
Fun facts.
that happens in the first one, right? It has to.
I don't know.
Well, Jose and I will be watching that later this year for the podcast. I only got a couple more notes.
Yeah.
No, I have
Yeah.
one more note.
Whoa.
They go in, the Australian dude and the Marshal was his name? The commander of the entire Jaeger program.
Oh, Stryker. His name is Stryker.
Oh, Stryker? Why did I think it was Marshal? Maybe he was a Marshal.
Yeah, he was a marshal. That's right.
So him and the guy, because the Australian dad got injured, they go down, but they're like, oh, we have to, the only way we can help them is by blowing up this payload here. Well, they do that, they die. And then Mako and the brother guy, who's no longer has a brother because he died, they go down into the rift with a kaiju body. That's how they found out they can go down. And then they drop themselves down, self-destruct. They're out of there. And when the guy comes up, Mako goes up on him. And she's like, he's not breathing. And we both go well, he's got to give him CPR. But then we both said, there was no previously established scene showing that she knows how to do CPR, like in Madam Web.
Oh my God.
Like it, man.
But then he's saved and he's good. We're fine. Movie's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like the detail that I thought that he was gonna they set it up that you think Stryker is gonna be the one to sacrifice himself to blow up the payload, but then they blow up the payload in a different way to blow up these monsters, and you're like, oh, that's not what happened. But I kind of feel bad for the one guy who dies because he was relatively young and he was still learning to not be a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he got to do it the last minute to not be a piece of shit, but it was then he was dead. The only thing is they don't explain when Stryker's just I take nothing into the drift. That's how I'm gonna do it. And you're take nothing in, you just don't experience memories or anything. That's crazy. How good are you at this that you could just block your mind from another person's as you connect it to it? That's wild.
Yeah.
He disassociates. He's good at it.
He meditates.
Oh, yeah. He's strong of mind and body and soul.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thank you for bringing this movie. It was 2 thumbs up.
Yeah, I'm glad I
Yeah.
finally had an excuse to finally sit down and watch it. It was so good.
Because we've owned it on Blu-ray for the longest time.
Really?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, no, I had to rent it. I might have it somewhere around because I got a bunch of DVDs from a friend of mine and didn't pay attention to what they were. But I don't think I have it. And so I ended up having to rent it. But I'm glad I did. It was a really cool movie, and I'm glad it was made.
Yeah, and I'm excited for next year when you come back on to do Pacific Rim 2.
Hopefully people enjoy this one.
And I think for the Patreon, for Straight to Patreon this month, we got to do Atlantic Rim. Right, Nicole?
No.
Okay. No, we'll do Atlantic Rim. Jose will come over. We'll have a blast.
There you go.
You, me, Jose will get rip-roaring high Atlantic Rim. You, me, Pearl will get rip-roaring high.
God.
We'll invite your bosses over. We'll get stoned Atlantic Rim. But thank you so much, Daimon, for being a part of this. Do you have anything to plug?
My new comic, Stellar Remnant, is coming out. It should come out soon. Well, July 12th. If it doesn't come out before that, if it doesn't come out then, it will come out pretty soon. It is, follow us on Stellar Remnant Comic on Instagram. And my own Instagram at Daimon Drew This. I'm always posting stuff. I got a bunch of stuff that I'm always doing. I post a bunch of stuff in Patreon too. It's also Daimon Drew This because I try to make things simple for everybody. So follow me on Patreon because I'm broke and I need help.
Nicole, you got anything to plug?
Oh, yeah. Visit darlinghomebody.com for all the cool stuff that I make and sell and whatnot. And follow me on social medias at darlinghomebody.
Hell yeah. And hey guys, I brought up Jose earlier. Please listen to Death to Squids. It's in the Marshland Media podcast feed. Wherever you're listening to this, you can listen to that. It's Jose and I getting rip-roaring high watching a sci-fi action movie. We're just about finished with Starship Troopers, and then we're moving on to the Resident Evil movies. We're so excited for those. It's going to be a blast. And hey, head over to patreon.com/MLMpod, where for $5 a month, you get exclusive content every single Friday. This entire month is Pride in July, where it's nothing but the citizens of Townsville Z with our queer friends talking about the Powerpuff Girls Z anime. It's very fun. It's every single episode so far has been a blast to record. They're already recorded, banked, and ready to roll. It's a fun time. And if you're a $10 patron, you get all of that plus monthly bonus exclusive content in the guise of straight to Patreon. And we're doing our summer mockbuster series. That's why I brought up how we got to do Atlantic Rim. But you also get shout-outs on every single free feed podcast. Let's begin with those, starting with Steve F., Eric Berry of Ranger Command Power Hour, Alex Z, The Waz, Orion, my bickle brother in common law, Joshua, Jake is Steve Barnes, a sweet child of time, my mother, who's, I guess, got them bingos, I said, Lil Course BFF, and now former roommate Shane, that fed, twitch.tv/Corwinning, it's Corwin, twitch.tv, or wait, from the ROM Complex, as well as Formulaic, a podcast and script writing, it's R2 Shelby 2, twitch.tv/R2 Shelby 2, I should say. And from the Speed Radio podcast, it's Zinny D. That's a podcast all about Sonic the Hedgehog. And I've been James.
I'm Nicole.
And I've been Daimon.
And we've been mostly speaking Sentai. See you guys later. Bye-bye. This has been a Marshland Media production, produced by James McCollum. For more content, please visit MLMpod.com. To support our network and have access to exclusive podcasts, head over to patreon.com/MLMpod and sign up today. Oh, yeah.